Hello everyone, this is Varaprasad and I am presenting you the daily current affairs which are useful for SSC, RRB and other government examinations. Union Minister for Finance and Corporate Affairs Nirmala Sitharaman launched the Instant Permanent Account Number PAN facility of Income Tax Department through Aadhaar-based eKYC. This launch has been made on the lines of Para 129 of Financial Year 2020-21 budget, stating a simplified allotment process of PAN. However, its beta version on trial basis was started on 12th February 2020 on the e-filing website of Income Tax Department. Since then, 6,77,680 instant PANs have been allotted with an turnaround time of about 10 minutes till 25th May 2020. The launch was made in the presence of Minister of State for Finance and Corporate Affairs Anurag Singh Thakur, Finance Secretary Dr. Ajay Bhushan Pandey and Central Board of Direct Taxes Chairman Pramod Chandra Modi. It is a system under which PAN will be instantly allotted online for those who possess a valid Aadhaar number. The allotment process is paperless and an electronic PAN is issued to the applicants free of cost. US joins G7 Artificial Intelligence Group to counter China's use of technology. The US has joined an international panel for setting ethical guidelines for the use of artificial intelligence. The Trump administration had earlier dismissed the idea. The partnership launched after a virtual meeting between national technology ministers. It was nearly 2 years after the leaders of Canada and France announced they are forming a group to guide the responsible adoption of artificial intelligence based on shared principles of human rights, inclusion, diversity, innovation, and economic growth. The Trump administration objected to that approach, arguing that too much focus on regulation would hamper US innovation, but negotiations over the past year and changes to the group's scope led to the US to join. Kratzios said, "We worked very hard to make it clear that it would not be standard setting or policy making body. US involvement is important because of the large role that American tech firms play globally and its historic advocacy for human rights," said K. Matheson, an associate professor focused on computer ethics at Northeastern University in Boston. Yogi Adityanath's government will sign a MOU with Indian Industries Association (IIA) and National Real Estate Development Council (NAREDCO) on Friday to ensure employment for 9.5 lakh workers. While the NAREDCO may employ 2.5 lakh people in the realty sector, the IIA will create jobs for around 5 lakh migrant workers in MSMEs, and the Confederation of Indian Industry will help employ 2 lakh workers. UP has seen inflow of around 26 lakh migrants. Earlier this week, the NAREDCO had written to the government that it could employ migrant workers after some state intervention. It had also sought the government's help in reviving stalled projects. The government spokesman said the MOU would help locate jobs and categorize workers. Andhra Pradesh government launched a web portal on which schools and colleges will have to upload details regarding their infrastructure and other facilities. Students, parents may visit the institutes and complain if the facilities provided don't match the information provided. Complaints will reach the AP School Education Regulatory and Monitoring Commission and the AP Higher Education Regulatory and Monitoring Commission, and immediate action will be taken. Chief Minister Y.S. Jagan Mohan Reddy said that at the brainstorming session of our governance, your suggestion, adding that these panels have already asked schools and colleges to provide information on their facilities. The AP SERMS and AP HERMS, headed by retired judges Justice Kantarao and Justice Ishwaraya respectively, are tasked with ensuring quality and seeing that private institutes do not charge exorbitant fee. Jagan said that earlier students used to commit suicide because colleges harassed them with high fees, but now the government is adopting a humanitarian approach. Himachal to launch portal for registration of returnees who lost jobs. The state cabinet, in a meeting presided over by CM Jairam Thakur, appreciated the exercise undertaken by cabinet subcommittee to ascertain fiscal space with different departments. The cabinet raised concerns over the large unspent funds of different departments and directed the departmental secretaries to monitor the utilization of these funds regularly. It directed the administrative secretaries of PWD, Rural Development, IPH, and Power to develop a monitoring mechanism to ensure utilization of funds. The PWD and Jal Shakti Vibhag were directed to update their schedule of rates and simplify all procedure including tendering. The cabinet approved the launch of a portal for registration of those people who have returned to state due to job loss and are either in need of employment or upgrade of skills. Neelesh Sathe, former IRDAI member and veteran of Life Insurance Corporation, has joined National Highways Authority of India as financial advisor. The government undertaking has taken on board Sathe at a time when it is looking to raise funds for road development from foreign institutional investors, World Bank, Asian Development Bank, pension funds abroad, and also from domestic institutional investors from India. Sathe was earlier director and CEO of LIC Nomura Mutual Fund Asset Management Company for 3 years before joining IRDAI in 2015, from where he retired last year. Recently, a webinar organized by media house Mr. Nitin Gadkari, Minister of Transport, Shipping and MSME, had announced that he had cleared the appointment of Sathe as finance advisor to NHAI. In the same event, Gadkari had set a target to raise 15 lakh crore rupees for road development from global investors. Simon & Schuster names Jonathan Karp as new CEO. Jonathan Karp, who has worked with authors ranging from Sun, Edward Kennedy to Susan Orlean, has been named the new CEO of Simon & Schuster. He replaces Caroline Reidy, who died 2 weeks ago. Karp, who joined the company in 2010, most recently served as president and publisher of Simon & Schuster Adult Publishing. John embodies the values that Caroline instilled in Simon & Schuster, and he is well suited to guide the continued growth and evolution of this incredible global brand. The 56 years old Karp has a long history of critical and commercial success at Random House, at 12, and at Simon & Schuster. Notable books he has worked on include Kennedy's True Compass, Orleans, The Library Book, Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, and Laura Hill Brands. Capgemini's Thierry Delaporte becomes the CEO and Managing Director of Wipro, effective from July 6, 2020. In January this year, the company said its CEO and Managing Director Abid Ali Neemuchwala has decided to step down from the company. Abid Ali Neemuchwala will relinquish his position as CEO and MD on June 1st. Rishad Premji will oversee the day-to-day operations of the company until July 5th, Wipro said in a statement. Until recently, Thierry Delaporte was the Chief Operating Officer of Capgemini Group and a member of its group executive board. During his 25-year career with Capgemini, he held several leadership roles, it said. He also oversaw Capgemini's India operations and led the group's transformation agenda, conceptualizing and driving several strategic programs across various business units, it added. Maruti Suzuki has partnered with HDFC Bank to offer flexibly equated monthly installment options to new car buyers. The bank is offering 3 repayment options to borrowers who could be facing a cash crunch during the lockdown due to COVID-19 pandemic. Of the 3 finance schemes, 2 focus on lower EMIs in the initial months. The first scheme combines step up and balloon payment, where the initial EMI is as low as 1101 rupee per lakh for a loan tenure of 84 months. The second option allows the borrowers to pay lower EMIs for the first 6 months or 3 months. In this case, the EMI starts at 899 rupees. The third is a Flexi EMI scheme, where the borrower can choose low EMIs for 3 months every year for the tenor of the loan. The flexible repayment structures come with a cost. They are similar to a moratorium a borrower avails on a loan. When there is no payment or lower payment for some months, the interest is added to the principal and interest is charged on it. Hence, the total outgo increases, said Deepesh Raghav, founder, Personal Finance Plan, a SEBI registered investment advisor. In step-up loans, the one benefit that borrowers get is that they can allow of higher loan amount. As the initial EMI is low, the eligibility for a higher loan amount increases. Asian Development Bank and Government of India have signed a $177 million loan to upgrade road infrastructure in state of Maharashtra. The loan has been signed with prime objective of upgrading the 450 kilometers of state highways and major district roads in the state of Maharashtra. The road improvement project consists of improving two major district roads and 11 state highways having the combined length of 450 kilometers. The project will improve the connectivity to national highways, seaports, airports, industrial areas, rail hubs, interstate roads, district headquarters, enterprise clusters, and agricultural areas. The project will also involve the strengthening of road safety measures with the development of road safety audit framework that will lead to protection of vulnerable groups including the elderly, women and children. 5 years performance based maintenance obligations to contractors will be encouraged to sustain asset quality and service level, hence updating road maintenance system. It will also train the Maharashtra Public Works Department project staff to enhance their capacity in climate change adaptation and disaster resilient features in various aspects such as road design, road maintenance planning, and road safety. Apple buys machine learning specialist inductive to bolster Siri artificial intelligence projects, adding to a mounting number of artificial intelligence related acquisitions. Apple in the past few weeks purchased Ontario based inductive to work on Siri and machine learning initiatives. Apple confirmed the buy in a boilerplate statement to Bloomberg, saying it buys smaller technology companies from time to time and we generally do not discuss our purpose or plans. Inductive developed a system that relies on artificial intelligence to automatically identify and correct errors in data. The report said error rectification is an important facet of machine learning, which itself aims to complete complex tasks without human intervention. NPCI launches Artificial Intelligence Virtual Assistance PAI to create product awareness. National Payment Corporation of India on Tuesday said it has launched an artificial intelligence based chatbot PAI to create awareness around its products like FASTag, RuPay, UPI, AEPS on a real-time basis. This is NPCI's initiative to improve digital financial inclusion in India. The AI virtual assistants PAI will be available round the clock and help users with access to accurate information on NPCI products. Customers can ask queries in English and Hindi via text or voice on the website of NPCI, RuPay and UPI Chalega. Through PAI, users can get verified automated responses to their queries on all NPCI's products. PAI would also be accessible to global RuPay cardholders as well as it added. Kunal Kalavatia, Chief of Marketing NPCI said, in this fast-paced world, addressing users' queries is the need of the hour. We believe PAI will create entirely new user experiences that are as natural and easy as conversations help users know about our products and in turn promote digital payments. PAI is developed by Bengaluru-based startup Core Over Private Limited. Facebook launches Catch Up, an audio-only calling app that shows who's ready to chat now. Facebook's internal R&D group NPE team has today launched a new app called Catch Up that makes it easier for friends and family in the US to coordinate phone calls or set up group calls with up to 8 people. While there are a number of group chats apps available to users today, what makes Catch Up unique is that the calls is enable or audio only, not video, and it flags when users are available. In addition, CatchUp won't need a Facebook account to use the service. The app works with your phone's contact list. CatchUp does not seem to take some inspiration from House Party, in that users in CatchUp can designate when they are available to talk by setting up their status in the app. This is similar to how House Party's videos chat app also lets you see who's live by sending out notifications when friends open the app and flagging them as here in the app's interface. Similarly, CatchUp shows users as ready to talk in the top section of its home screen with offline users and other contacts listed below. Facebook explains the app's intention is to address one of the key reasons people no longer make phone calls. They don't know when someone has time to talk and they don't want to interrupt them. Meanwhile, calls that can't be answered go to voicemails that recipients don't bother checking, which forces communication to go through text messaging or chat apps instead. And while video chats are on the rise, a phone call is often more convenient as users aren't always video ready or they are trying to multitask, not sit in front of a screen. International Day of UN Peacekeepers is observed globally on 29th May every year. The United Nations commemorates the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers. This day is dedicated to all the women and men who have served as military, police, or civilians in UN peacekeeping operations. The theme of 2020 Women in Peacekeeping, a key to peace. The theme helps to mark the 20th anniversary of adoption of UN Security Council Resolution 1325 on women, peace and security. The UN General Assembly adopted a resolution in 2003 and designated 29th May as the International Day of United Nations Peacekeepers. The day was established to honor the memory of UN peacekeepers who have lost their lives in the cause of peace and pay tribute to all the men and women who have served and continue to serve in UN peacekeeping operations for their high level of professionalism, dedication, and courage. The last one of the session is Foreign Direct Investment (FDI) in India rose by 13%, the sharpest pace in the last 4 fiscal years, to a record of USD 49.97 billions in 2019 to 20, according to official data. The country had received FDI of USD 44.36 billions during April to March 2018 to 19. Foreign investments in the last fiscal grew at sharpest pace since 2015 to 16, when the inflow had jumped by 35%. Also, the country logged its all-time high FDI in a fiscal year since 2002-2001, when the first such data was released. Sectors which attracted maximum foreign inflows during 2019 to 20 include services, computer software and hardware, telecommunication, automobile, construction and chemicals, the Department for Promotion of Industry and International Trade data. We are providing you the PDF of this entire session in the description box below. People who want to download the PDF can go to the description box and click on that link so that you can download the PDF. Thank you everyone. Please subscribe to our channel for more updates. Please give your valuable suggestions in the comment box.